Idikri Kwa. Growing up, my grandma would often say to us, Tibaisala Brigand, which literally translated from Creole to English means, that young boy is a brigand, or he acts like a brigand. But my grandmother, she never meant it in a derogatory way. The way she looked at it or said it was more like an adventurous or intrepid child. That's when she used the word brigand, or like imagine a young stallion, a young colt, who bucks and runs around acting wild as a brigand, right? But a translation from the English perspective, a brigand would be more of a thief, or someone who stays up in the hills or the mountains and ambushes people. The French would look at a brigand as a rogue or a rascal. So here we're understanding two perspectives: local knowledge, local understanding of what brigand from Creole or brigand in English might mean. So we're looking at it from both the idea of a local meaning, what we mean to ourselves, what Creole people may have understood brigand or brigand to mean, as opposed to what the outsiders looking in at us may have thought or called us a brigand. A St. Lucian writer wrote a book, they called us Brigand, The Saga of St. Lucia's Freedom Fighters by Robert J. DeVoe. On one of the popular online book sites, the book is rather expensive, more than $200 plus. So I haven't read the book, and I'm looking forward to it, to bring more understanding to the word brigand as well. But I say this because in the history of the Caribs and the Kalinago people from St. Vincent and down into that area of Martinique and St. Lucia, after being forced down from the northern part of the West Indies, which is what Christopher Columbus and the European explorers named the region after the so-called discovered it. They called it the West Indies. The irony is that they thought they were traveling to the Indies through the West, and so they called a place and the people Indians, or they called what the islands that they came across as the West Indies. So herein lies again the naming, and what history or words might tell might not give an accurate idea of what it is. For example, I was raised Roman Catholic. I am definitely not Italian or Roman. But back to the point of understanding a brigand, somebody who lived in the mountains of St. Lucia, hiding out and causing trouble for the colonizers in the islands. They were made of a mixture of Caribs who had on Kalinago, who had mixed with runaways, those who had escaped from enslavement, or even people, Europeans, who did not want to live under the yoke of their government. And during all these upheavals and times, it was a mixture of many different people. And so the establishment called them a brigand, whereas locally they were looked at more as intrepid and adventurous, most likely freedom fighters. Tiboy Sala, Brigand, Idikwi, Kwa. We will be discussing other words as we go along, but this is the one, brigand. There's lots of information about brigands. Like I said, there's the first Carib War, the first Brigand War, second Brigand War, and these are very, very interesting. There were characters like the French Revolution characters involved as far down as into those tiny Caribbean islands, coming down to assert the influence of equality, fraternity, brotherhood, and liberté. So all these, and the local Caribs and how they found themselves, and they enslaved and they escaped, and how these things melded. So there's lots. This is just a tidbit of taking a word, brigand, so you can start to research and dissect into it and come to understand what it may mean locally and what it is written that it means by popular history or popular culture. So looking forward to more words. We might do a second edition delving into some of the characters during the Brigand Wars that may have been popular. But yes, today we spoke about a brigand, or brigand from a Creole perspective, and what it is written that brigands were. See you next time.